So hey there guys, I thought I would start out this week's video a little different. So I had a couple of questions after the first couple of videos. Some of my faithful followers sent me some messages asking some questions, and I figured I would go on and clarify that stuff right now and clear it out there. So apparently during my videos I say a lot of "we are doing." I do that for two reasons. One, because I feel like I'm there doing it and I've got you guys at home watching and kicking in ideas and, you know, making comments, so I feel it's a we project. And the other one is I'd like to think that someday my friends will come down here when it's time to do the heavy lifting and a lot of the big things I'm going to need help with, that we'll already have them included in the videos. So just a quick shout out, you know, for the guys that brought that stuff up. We'll try to clarify this stuff. If you have any questions, send me a message, send me an email, text, whatever. We'll try to answer them. And then let's get on to this week's video. So as you can see, we're getting ready with the floor pan, doing all the final preparation before we can lay it on the car. I know you saw it a little bit in a quick screenshot at the end of the last video. We're going to walk through the process of how we actually get this set up and ready and cut. There's probably better ways to do it and better tools. However, this is a low budget operation, so we're going to do it the hard way. Do have safety gear, you know, mask, gloves. First thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and already measure it out, so we're going to mark it out with a Sharpie marker, make us a nice straight smooth line, and then we'll get ready to cut it. Alright, so this doesn't have to be perfect. This entire floor pan will be getting a rubber seal around the edge of it to kind of cap it off, clean it up nice. Makes for a really good look when it's all done. It's all sealed, looks really good. So the cuts don't have to be perfect. There's going to be some burrs that will knock off and those kind of things, but all in all, just a good, real sort of clean cut, kind of the basic guidelines of what we're looking for, the shape and everything, so it fits on the chassis. So we'll get that cut, and we'll come back in a little bit. So we got the first side cut, and take you a quick look at that. Like I said, it's got some burrs. It's not the cleanest cut, but it's not going to be. We're going to take care of all that in the finishing when we put the rubber rail on. So you can kind of see, you know, there's a few spots. All this will be covered under the frame rail, so you won't actually see it. This is going to attach right here. So you have 2 inches of this sheet metal that you will not see once it's all bolted up. You can see we've already got pre-welded bungs in the chassis to screw them to, and then we're going to go ahead later this week when the parts come in. We're going to put nutserts in the bottom, and I'll show you how we're going to do that. And it's going to anchor, you know, this entire floor pan on. It's not going to rattle, it's not going to shake, and it's going to really turn out really nice, I think. So I'm going to get back to cutting the rest of this, and once we get it all cut all the way around, get it deburred, I'll bring you back, and we'll do the install on the weather sealant all the way around. All right, see you shortly. All right, so the floor pan is cut. We got to do a little deburring and get it ready for the weather stripping. That's actually coming today, and due to the big blizzard here in Niagara Falls and Buffalo, everything has been delayed 3 or 4 days, so getting my parts has been a little more difficult. We're going to spend a little while cleaning up the shop and getting it ready for when the new parts and tools get here this afternoon. I'll take you through real quick what we're working on. You can see how the progress turned out. So you can see the floor pan, it's all cut where it needs to be to meet the chassis. I don't know if you can see how well you can see this, but there's a lot of metal, the burrs that have come up. So we're going to go through and grind all of those off. And then as soon as the weather stripping comes in, we're going to weather strip the whole thing all the way around. Once that's in, we're going to move it over to here. We're going to place it on the chassis. Drill some of our pilot holes for our nut certs, and we'll hopefully get that bolted on. Hopefully today or tomorrow. Once I get this deburring all done, I'll bring you back, and you can see how we put the weather strip on and what a huge pain in the ass that's going to be. So I'll apologize for the noise coming, but I thought you guys might want to see this, what the whole process is, going through and deburring this and what it looks like. You just saw the panel was all flaked up and it was making a real mess. Now, with this process, we'll go through, the edges will be nice and smooth, look really nice, and it's really not that difficult. So I'll set you down, you can take a quick look as we go through it, and we'll go from there. All right, so now that we got you at the pan level, you can see all this aluminum that's kind of stuck up here. And without going through and grinding the top of it, which will make everything else look like crap, what you do is you go through and very carefully grind the edge that you cut. And what that'll do is that'll just thin out the metal that's overhanging, and you'll actually see we'll be able to flip it out of the way and just knock it right off, and it'll leave you a nice, perfectly smooth edge. We can get that weather seal on. So again, we'll try to cut the noise out, but hearing protection, eye protection, pay attention. Well, there you go. Yeah, you can see, hopefully. There we go. Nice smooth edge. It's not rippled, it's not sticking up. Comes right off there, looks real nice, and we didn't mess up the rest of the aluminum. Again, there's what it looks like before we did the grinding. You got all this metal shavings that are stuck, and then as soon as we ground off the edge, nice and smooth, and we'll do that all the way around the floor pan. Should only take a few minutes, and we'll be ready for stage 582. So one thing I forgot to mention, in preparation for putting the floor pan on, if you guys remember, I had these bungs that welded in, so we can essentially thread a bolt through the bottom and then through the top. You won't have any nuts, they'll all thread together and be a real clean look. The thing I forgot was, after we sprayed this, and we sprayed this pretty heavy with the bed liner material, that you've got to clean out the threads. Now, if you don't clean out the threads, what you're going to have is you're going to end up stripping bolts, breaking bolts, and making things way more difficult than it needs to be. So I'm going to take the time right now. I've just got the 8 that are put in here, and we're going to go through and just clean them out with a tap. Just make sure the threads are clean and we can shoot a bolt through there and we don't have an issue. I did 2 already. Cleaned them out pretty easy, but I'll go ahead and do one where you can kind of watch and see what we're doing. It's a standard Harbor Freight, tap and die set. I think it was $40. Works good for what I'm using it for, so let's get to it. So even though this is a Volkswagen, you know, everything should be metric. Nah. What I did is I used pretty much standard bolts. Since I'm redoing all the bolts and threads and everything, I did them to what I had. Standard thread, a lot cheaper, and a lot more of those around. But you can see how quick and easy that is. Couldn't get a bolt in that hole a minute ago, and run that through there. Now I can hand thread a bolt all the way in. So let's see, we got a couple more right here. We're gonna do slide this thing on here. And I apologize, one-handed makes this a little more difficult, but that's all right. You guys get the picture. There we go, get it on there. Hopefully my camera stand will be here today and there'll be no more of this, but yeah, I mean, that's all there is to it. Just run it through the threads to clean out any of the material that was in there. Run it all the way through. You can see it coming out the backside. See, there is some, not a lot, but there's a little bit of metal and paint and stuff in there. Just back it right out. And again, we'll just give it a quick test to make sure that no issues. Yeah, thread right in there by hand, no problem. All right, so I won't waste your time and walk you through them all, but that's the process. We're gonna go through and finish all these up and go on to the next step. Hey guys, so the next part, obviously we skipped a little bit. I went ahead and I pre-staged the floor pan upside down on top of the chassis so we can lay it out, get it marked, get it ready for hopefully this afternoon when the rest of the parts come in. So we've already got it on. I have the 4 pre-drilled holes. They've already got bolts and everything in them. That way this panel will stay in place. And what I've done, it probably doesn't show up real good on that camera, but you might be able to see. So as you guys could tell, slight camera malfunction. Apparently I shot the next 4.5 minutes on super slow-mo. So give you a quick idea what we're doing here. Just doing some chalk lines to map this out, and we'll go on. Lines overlap. So we'll hit all those real quick. That's where I want to put, you know, my little braces or my nuts. That got the major ones. So now we're gonna do, you know, there's 2 here, 2 here, 2 here, 2 here, 2 here. That front's not gonna rattle. We're gonna do a couple across the middle, a couple across the middle, a couple across the middle, and then down the sides, and you know, maybe 1 or 2 right here in the back. So I'm gonna continue doing this. Once we get set up and we're ready to start drilling these pre-holes, I'll bring it back and you can check that out. All right, so everything's been marked. Just going over the lines we did before, and we kind of set them all so they're relatively straight. They don't have to be all in line. I ended up, excuse me, with close to 35, 36 different locations that we're going to tie this all down. And then there's obviously the pre-mounted ones on top of that. So we're going to be right around 40 bolts, which seems like a lot. And now that I'm looking at it, it seems like a whole lot. But I'm going to go ahead and do it anyway. I'd rather have it overkill than have a problem. So kind of hang out, watch what we got going on. We're going to drill a whole bunch of starter holes, and then we'll pull the cover off and we'll finish drilling the holes in the chassis, at least the starter holes, without this metal plate in the way. And then we'll get it prepped to put the bolt lockers in, and we'll go from there. Minor catastrophe, no problem. Anyway, I think you guys get the picture. I'm gonna finish this up, get this pulled off, and then we'll all right back. So on everybody's videos you see how things go together and how everything is perfect, and when you put stuff together it all lines up. I'm gonna show you here. This is a no BS moment. I'll try to keep it PG-13. I did what I told you not to do. I put a bolt in here and did not run out the threads. So of course, what happens? There you go. Right there. That bolt snapped off. That sucks. So now from would have taken me a minute to tap that hole out real quick. Instead, I just forced a bolt in there, broke it off. Now we're gonna spend the next half an hour or more drilling that out. When I said half an hour, I may have been giving myself a little extra credit. Took almost an hour to get it out, but it's out, it's retapped. Threaded one in there by hand, worked great. So stupid mistakes trying to move forward. So now I'm gonna go ahead and drill out these pilot holes that we marked earlier, and an hour's worth of drilling tiny holes until we can drill big holes. So here we go with the, see that, where is it? Right there. There we go. She's all tapped. Get you in there. It's all tapped, everything else is marked. Start drilling holes and hope the parts come in soon. I know you guys were looking forward to seeing how that floor pan turned out, but unfortunately for this week, it's going to be a no-go. Amazon screwed me again. The package that came yesterday was not even something I ordered. It was a book. And unless it was a book on how to build Volkswagen dune buggies, it really didn't do me any good. So I had to return that and request a replacement for the item that I did order. I don't even know what to say. It's been nothing but a hassle with Amazon. I had other stuff that was supposed to come yesterday. After being on their truck out for delivery for the last 3 days, showed up this morning. When I checked the app, it said that your packages were lost. Not really sure how that happened since they scanned it, 18 times since Monday. But yeah, they're lost. So I had to go through the whole process of talking to Amazon, which if any of you done that, great customer service there. So we had to reorder all that stuff. So now it's going to be another week. Unfortunately, not getting anything done here, so I figured we just end this and post this video up. Look forward to my new playlist that's coming out. We'll let it be a surprise for those of you who can find it out there, and hopefully you'll tune in next week and we can move forward with this project.